Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Eh, I want to give you an experience that I had today when I took my vehicle to the garage for alignment. So every time I like taking my vehicle to the garage, especially when it comes to this Nissan March. They have a reputation of destroying their bushes, and also wear and tear of their tires can be uneven if you don't pay attention to wheel balancing and wheel alignment. So from time to time, after around 3,000 kilometers, I always spend the 2,000 shillings to do the alignment and just ensure that I will not have issues with bushes and and the tire wear and tear. Okay, so when I take my vehicle to the garage, whether it is for regular service or for any mechanical repairs, I never stay away from my car. I want to speak to the mechanic. I want to see what they are doing. So I always try to engage the mechanics. Sometimes some of them don't like that. They behave like doctors. They don't want to be asked questions when they are doing the work. But I always find a way to get them update me what is happening, what they are seeing, what they are not seeing, and how they feel overall about the issue I wanted them to address my vehicle. But again, when I took my vehicle to this service station, this is a relatively new one. Have never brought my vehicle here. It is along Kenyatta Road, just there at the roundabout on your side of the right hand side when you are coming from town. So hapo Kenyatta Road roundabout. Ukiwa umetoka Thika, it's on your left side. Kama unatoka town is on your right side. So it happened that this service station iko pia na garage inside. Okay? So I went around the garage and I got a mechanic who was working on some of the accident vehicles. So that garage has an insurance arrangement. So if your vehicle gets an accident and it has insurance, is one of the garages where you can take your vehicle to claim for your insurance claims. So I started discussing about the vehicles I was seeing around, because I could see a lot of very very new number plates around. I could see very very new shape, very new models of vehicles involved in accidents, and we started this cordial discussion with the mechanic. And you know what he was revealing to me? He was telling me that 80% of the accident cars they receive, or accident cases that are brought to them, they involve relatively new vehicles. It might not necessarily be the new number plate, but it is, I would say, vehicles that have been in the market for not more than 2 years. So here we are looking at a KDM in terms of number plate, all the way to KDV, where we are at this point. And when you see the videos that I'm trying to show you around the garage, you will actually agree with what he was telling me. And I saw that thing around. Majority of the vehicles in that garage that are there for accident issues are relatively new vehicles with KD number plates and above. And I tried to probe him further just for me to learn, why is it that newer vehicles are the ones that are involved in accidents. So he had two narratives. Okay, he was telling me that the first one is actually not the obvious. Some of you would expect that people with new cars, probably they are driving for their first time. They have an L label on the front and the back of the car, so that people can know they are learners. But that comes second. So learners are involved in accident, but not as many times. But he was telling me that the cases they have come to prove is that a lot of people with new vehicles, they try new stuff. Okay, so they want to test the thrill and the speed and how can I say, maneuverability of the vehicle. And before you get to understand a car, you have to spend some good time with it, so that you can know how it responds to braking, how it responds to corners, how it responds to to even the lighting. Some front light, how can I say, the headlights, some of them are not as responsive as your previous car. So you could find yourself in a situation at night and you are putting full light or dim light, but the visibility in that car is not as good as maybe the previous car that you had. So he was telling me that majority of the new people who own new cars are actually not new drivers, but they thrive in trying to they want to try so many things with those new cars, and out of that they get a lot of accident issues. Those accidents are not always necessarily fatal. They are not always involving a third party or another vehicle or an individual. Sometimes these accidents are self-involving. So you will find a lot of vehicles that had maybe they had rolled, or they swayed from the road, or they drifted and fell into a ditch or something. So those were narratives that the mechanic was giving. And then you will find that these Mazda people, especially people with Mazda vehicles, he was trying to say that Mazdas nowadays are involved in so many accidents because Mazda has marketed their diesel versions of cars so much to a point whereby right now people are starting to appreciate the thrill and the power. For example, if you consider a Mazda CX-5 petrol and a Mazda CX-5 diesel, there is nothing you can compare between those two vehicles. One is a beast, another one is a lazy vehicle. The CX-5 2000cc, people have complained of it being quite lazy. But the CX-5 2200cc diesel, it is a beast. Its power cannot be found within any other vehicle of the same category. So you will find that people with Mazda, especially even the Mazda Demios, diesel, 1300cc, I'm telling you, those vehicles are moving like nothing else. They are true sport cars. So he was telling me that really people are finding a lot of thrill in trying new stuff with these things. But everything remains statistic. There is no case to prove, but at least I saw this this mechanic had a case. But I don't know what you guys think, but maybe he had a point, maybe he didn't. But maybe I would like to hear from you. What do you think is the biggest cause of accidents in Kenya? And in your own analysis and from your own experience, do you think that newer vehicles are involved in accidents more frequent than older vehicles, especially when we are talking of number plates? Have you ever walked into a garage compound and found more vehicles that have newer number plates than old number plates parked there for accident reasons? So, and if you are out there as a mechanic, maybe you can tell us what is your experience when it comes to accident analysis. And here we are speaking in terms of privately used motor vehicles. So we are not talking about matatus, the buses, the lorries and stuff, and maybe not really about the public service vehicles like the taxis and the rest. Here we are more into privately used motor vehicles. Okay, so let me know what you think, and this will be very, very educative for anyone who is watching, because I thought that for people who are planning to buy extremely new vehicles, or maybe vehicles that have not been driven into Kenya, or a model that you have never driven before, this will be completely a very new experience, for yourself. You have never experienced the power of that car, or the thrill, or the response to various situations. So you must be very, very careful. If you are planning to buy a vehicle that is new, that you have never touched before, be very, very careful, because don't take it with the intention of trying stuff that you are not trying with your new car. So go slow until you feel like you are now confident with that car. Even if you are confident, I know people who drive small cars like myself. If we look forward to the day we will hold that crossover SUV or a rear SUV and start overlapping along the Nairobi Nakuru highway and overtake cars in rows and in speed. So I think that's very bad intention, and it will not take you anywhere. Let me know what is your experience, what is your analysis, and what you think about all that topic.